Hey champions, today we're going to be talking about two things and two things only. I'm trying to keep this video short, but it actually got away from me a little bit. So let's get into it so that you can wrap things up and get back to your day as soon as possible. Let's go into it now. Hey champions, there are two things I want to talk about and two things only because there's actually a bunch of things to discuss, but I don't want to crowd this video too much. So I'm going to be talking about the Uncut Sheets, and I'm going to be talking about, is Genesis deceptively expensive? This was an interesting topic that was brought to my awareness by a community member, so I wanted to talk about that. But let's talk about the Uncut Sheets first. So for the next 24 hours, well, not next 24 hours, by the time this has gone up, some of those hours have already clicked away. But it started today at noon, Friday at noon, going until Saturday at noon. You have the opportunity to buy Uncut Sheets from the Kickstarter project. Our goal for these is we will print enough of them so that the fulfillment gets is done. So everyone who ordered one will get one. And then we'll create a few for our backlog that we put into for like the game design team or any for some of the members of the team to get a few pieces of these to hold on to. And then we may make a few extra for some special events and things like that. But honestly, there won't be some big attention towards those, because part of the reason is this Kickstarter project, when it's done, I want it to be end capped and closed off and be set aside. And let's look towards the retail version of Origins. Let's look towards the future a lot more. The Kickstarter right now is about growth and acceleration. After we achieve that growth and acceleration, I want to go back to the course that we had originally planned out, which was growing with the LGSs, growing with the communities, growing in the competitive scene, growing in the things that make a TCG stable and make the foundational parts of it a lot more valuable for the community. So when it comes to Uncut Sheets and stuff like that, I don't want to have the Kickstarter as a whole. I don't want to have a lot of pieces of it that linger on for the future. I wanted to highlight the acceleration of the company, but I don't want it to be a in the future, all of a sudden, a bunch of these boxes are discovered, or a bunch of these Uncut Sheets are discovered, and it devalues the people who backed us, who took the chance, who took the leap of faith to support the project going forward. I want to make sure that where we're at, everything's kind of stable and it grows appropriately. So that's what I'm looking at for the Uncut Sheets. I hope you're excited. If you ask for my honest opinion, so for me personally, the shiny ones are really cool. They're a nice item to have and to display in different places. But it depends on how you end up displaying them. Sometimes they don't look the greatest because if the light hits them, they can be very blinding. So if you're feeling like, if you're feeling that you can't get them all and you're trying to pick which ones you want, think about where you're going to display them and how you're going to display them. The shiny ones I put up in my living room. I really like them. I think they're really pretty. This was for J2, not for Origins. Obviously, we haven't printed Origins yet. But for J2, I put mine up in the living room. I do like the matte ones, like the non-shiny ones as well. And I think the epic ones are going to look, well, they're going to look epic. I've seen how the epic sheet's going to look like for J2 reprint. And it just looks so beautiful seeing that artwork kind of seamless across the spectrum. So that's the one I highly recommend. I think the epic sheet is probably my favorite. The foil sheets are definitely very, very pretty. And it's one of those things that if I could, I would definitely go for those. And then the other ones also hold a lot of great value. I think Origins as a whole is going to be very special of a set, and being able to say I have the Kickstarter complete set of all the Uncut Sheets is also going to be a really cool thing to say and do. So that's where we're at with the Uncut Sheets. If get what you think is reasonable for you that you're willing to put up, because I know that not everyone has the wall space to put everything up. Do what's reasonable for you, and also do what's get the ones that you think you'll really enjoy. So I hope you're excited for those. Let's talk about the cost factor for Genesis. Before we jump into that, I want to talk about the social media stuff. It's the end of the week. Let's see where we're checking in at. So backers, we had 619, which is really awesome. We're, 60% towards that 1,000 backers. I really want to do that event. I know for me, like getting 1,000 backers, that would be amazing. I'd be super excited about it. Doing this event would be phenomenal. But at the end of the day, what's more important is that the people who do back us, those 619 people who back us, enjoy the product that they get. So that's going to be our higher priority. But it's really cool seeing that number grow. It's been a really great week for that. YouTube, we've been seeing a lot of growth in the past little while. We did get an additional 101 new subscribers. So I'm really excited about seeing how many people are participating and growing with us on the YouTube platform. I do want to hit that 500, but just because this Kickstarter ends in January does not necessarily mean we're going to stop when it comes to growing these social media platforms. So more things are going to be in the roster moving forward. Even if we don't hit these stretch goals, I still want to find ways to reward us if we do hit these numbers. Facebook is 60% there, hitting the 5,000. I would love to do another pitch contest. So let's get that into the works, because the one that's happening right now on the Kickstarter is absolutely amazing. All right. Let's talk about Genesis, and is it deceptively expensive to get into the game? This message was sent to me on Discord. I don't want to say who sent it or anything like that, but I do want to read it verbatim of what was said. So I'm just pulling it up, but I'm not putting it onto the screen because I'm not calling anyone out. All right, so this message comes up. I don't know if I agree that this is going to be a cheap game. This is deceptively expensive game, because there is no limit to what you can put in a deck. You almost feel you need to hoard as many copies of one card as possible. And with the singles market being so bad in the US, like Flesh and Blood does big punches to your wallet, this game almost feels like it's a death by 1,000 needles. So it was funny because when I got this message, I was literally standing in front of a group of, we had 2 judges, a store owner, and 3 people who had just recently gotten into the game. And we started talking about this topic. And there was a lot of different conclusions, but some of the things that kind of came up that I really enjoyed is one person who was saying, I've bought a bunch of booster boxes already, but I still enjoy buying more packs because majority of the packs still has cards that are valuable. So this comes to my first point, which is I think Genesis is a game where the sealed product holds value. And I don't mean holds value as in put it on the shelf and never open it. I mean, when you open up a booster pack, you are going to get value out of it on the gameplay side. So if you're looking to play competitively, if you're looking to play casually, opening up packs is a good way of doing that. Because where you could spend $5 and get 1 bolt shot on the secondary market, you could spend $5 and get 1 booster pack. And with that 1 pack, you now have 14 new play pieces that you can use to adjust different decks, to expand your collection, to do a lot of cool things. So this is the first part that I really, really enjoy about Genesis, is that we found a dynamic and we found a way to design the booster packs so that they usually hold a lot of value to them on the individual level. The game pieces are valuable in Genesis. And this is something that I really enjoy. And this is, I think, a good approach at looking at the game. This is how I felt when I first started playing TCGs when I was really little. Every time I opened up a new pack of Magic or Overpower or Pokemon in those early days, even Yu-Gi-Oh!, I really, really enjoyed it. There were so many pieces that I got that were always valuable. I always felt like I got my money's worth. And that's the part that I think is a very valuable thing. Yes, there aren't as many swing packs in Genesis. You aren't going to open up too many packs that are worth, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. Those are not the thing. But on the flip side, you're also not going to be opening up packs where there's very little value, that you've lost a lot when it comes to the exchange. You usually will walk away. You're getting 2 rares. Those rares are usually filtered down to be really good playable cards. And then you're getting a bunch of uncommons. And actually, that was one of the things I loved about J2, is that the uncommons held so much play value in those packs that getting more of them was very, very valuable. So this is one perspective. I wanted to create a product where stores would actually want to sell booster packs. And that's what we saw. That's what we saw across the spectrum. Even in stores like Heads or Tails, which has one of the largest singles collections for Genesis, they still sold individual packs very regularly. People were coming in buying by the packs, by the boxes. It wasn't just their singles collection that was being sold. Their packs weren't just sitting on the counter. They were actually selling packs. So that's the first part that I really, really enjoy about Genesis. The second part, when it comes to this, is there's a growing understanding of what the concept of a playset means in Genesis, and how it's different in Genesis than it is in other TCGs. In other games, you eventually hit a point where you don't need any more copies of a card. But in Genesis, you do. You don't need them, but there's a value in having a lot of them. Even though there's not a serious hard and fast number of the maximum copies you need of a given card, there's a rough number. So talking to some more serious players, I think it's somewhere between 7 to 12, and with some exceptions along the way. But 7 to 12 copies of a given card is pretty reasonable. You're not really running more than 7 unless it's a card that means a lot for your playstyle. So something like, the long deck that I was just talking about, I don't think I ran more than, I ran 6 wrist throws and 6 giant scorpions. Everything else I had 5 of. So I think 5's a pretty regular number. It's 10% of your deck. You usually, so opening game, you draw 5. Then the games go on for about 8 rounds, so you're drawing 13 cards, which is a little bit over than 20% of your deck. It depends on the ratio of how many you want to draw. What's your average experience? If you're trying to draw at least 2 copies of the card from your deck, then running 5 to 6 of them is a good amount, because if you're drawing 20% of your deck and 10% of it, 5 to 6 I think is roughly the right amount that you're looking at. And then there are other decks that lean on a particular card, a particular combo, something like the Rain OTK from back in 2019 that ran on a lot of Shadow Claws, so they were running 8 to 10 of them, or they're running a whole bunch of Epiphanies, because one Epiphany leads into another, and allows you to stem into your combo. So those decks are a bit of an exception. I think they're a much more of the exception than the norm. So yes, there is no hard and fast rule of what a playset looks like, but there's an understanding that you don't need to have an obscene number of them. And then the last part that I want to touch on is just the set sizes. The set sizes are the way they are because we do not want to make getting a playset extremely difficult. Right? If you're looking for getting a reasonable amount of all the commons, uncommons, and rares that you want, it's not going to cost you an absurd amount to get to that number. You're going to be able to get there reasonably quickly. And that was by design. So some people may have called me out a few times being like, if I only need 3 to 5 boxes to play this game competitively, then it's not really much of a TCG. It's more like an LCG. And my retort to that is, do you really want to be playing games where to play competitively you need to purchase more than 5-6 boxes? Like, that's a lot. Now, some people like that, and if you do, go for it. Go and play the games that you're looking to play. But my intention for this game was to cater towards the people who are buying by the box, or buying by the packs, or buying the odd singles here and there. It was not intended for people who are buying several cases of product. Now, intentions, reality, those are 2 separate things. But I did want to look at the casual players who are just like buying 1 or 2 packs a week and being like, yeah, one pack will increase the strength of my deck a significant amount. So these are a lot of things that I looked at. I think there is a lot of cool. There's just a different perception for Genesis than there is for other TCGs. I'm not saying that any game has got it down perfect. Every game caters towards a different audience. The question you need to ask yourself is, which audience are you? Which game caters to the play experience that you're looking for? Or not just the play experience, but the enjoyment, the entertainment experience that you're looking for. Because I brought in that because not everyone plays their trading or collectible card game. Sometimes they focus on the trading or the collecting part of it more than they focus on the card game. And that's fine. You got to figure out what makes you happy. Where's your enjoyment out of this? And focus on that. And I think Genesis is just giving a different perspective on that same conversation. Anyways, that's everything I want to talk about for today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And if you're interested in those Uncut Sheets, make sure you head over to the Kickstarter and pick those up. Besides that, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. The Genesis Origins Kickstarter is live. Details are in the description below. As I close off this video, I want to remind you to support your local game stores. They are the backbone of the hobby industry. Also, please follow our partner content creators. They are working very hard to make content that you are interested in. So check out our playlist of videos made by them and like and subscribe to their channels. Finally, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. Without you, this game would not be where it is today. Thank you for being so awesome, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.